best practices on importing NWD and NWC files. Okay, so I created like a little step-by-step over here. So we're gonna go through all these steps. And the first one of them is to update your Navisworks to 2026 version. The reason why is because this is the only version that allows you to exclude hidden items when creating a new NWD file, right? So regardless if you are exporting the NWD over here in the export scene, or if you're publishing it, you now have the ability to decide that you don't want to include the hidden items. This will allow you to create like filters to your view and so on and so forth that will make it way simpler, like in your file will be way more optimized with like showing only the relevant items that you want. Okay, so the first step is to update your Navisworks to the 26 version. And then second step is, I know that a bunch of users are using with the ACC integration, but the ACC integration, when you bring like an NWC file directly to cmBuilder, you kind of like lose the opportunity to view that file before you bring it in Builder and understand what's included in there. And the reason why this is important is because an NWD or NWC file will always be way smaller than the geometry that is contained in it, right? So just as an example, like this file over here, that is a compilation, it's combining several IFCs out of Revit. Like if I look at just the NWD file that is saved out of this, it has 17 megs, but the IFCs combined will have like 230 megs, for example, right? So it's almost 10 times the size of a file from that is a native NWD compared to its exports, right? And I believe that if I try to export this to an FBX, it might be even larger than that. So it's a very interesting thing. And like, I really recommend that you open the model in Navisworks first, because you might not know what is included on that geometry, right? Especially because the NWD file will have like several hidden items that whenever you bring that file in cmBuilder will not discard the hidden items. It will take the hidden items and convert them as well. So you might get like an NWD file that has 10, 20, 30 other files inside of it. And like you bring in like a lot of geometry to manage inside the platform. So it's easier if you simply open this in Navisworks first, take a look at the tree structure, understand what is included in your file, and take decisions from there, right? Another thing that people also miss is that whenever people combine a lot of these files in Navisworks, you have like a bunch of like items over here. These items can be coming from different sources, like different teams that created them and so on. And they might be referring to parts that are very far away from the others. So like what I mean by that is that if I open this NWC and this is the view that I get, not necessarily these are the only parts that are in here. If I click on this little house button over here, it will zoom out to include in my view everything that is in that file. And as you can see, I have two dots over here, one dot here and one dot over here. But the extent of my zoom is completely different. So if I zoom in on this first dot, this is my main model, but I want to know where are other parts that are too small for me to see over here. So I have a quick tip for this. Basically, I'll just hold space on my keyboard to create the lasso selection with the box selection, and I just like try to select everything that is outside of my geometry, my main geometry. And as you can see, it highlighted like several parts over here. So I can say like, for example, okay, like where is this part? So what is in this other location that I don't know of? So I can click on the part and go into the viewpoint and then click on the zoom selected. So when you zoom the selected part, you will see like, oh, okay, my whole electrical model is misplaced compared to the rest of my geometry. So someone made a mistake over here and didn't put this electrical model along with that. And it's better if you manage this before you bring it to cmBuilder, because cmBuilder will use the bounding box of this geometry to position it in like the map. And if you get parts, there are rogue parts like scattered all around your file, you gonna have like a hard time trying to position these parts in cmBuilder. So basically what I would do in this situation, I would just select these guys over here and then go into the tree structure and hide them. And then now they're hidden when I click on the little thingy over here. It was supposed to work. So let's see if there are other parts that I didn't select. No. Okay, so I'm just gonna go zoom in on this selection here then. So now that I hit all of these other parts, I don't have like anything else to manage here, right? So that way I clear up my view, my model from these other rogue parts. Okay, so rogue parts, yeah, there you go. Second thing, oh, fourth thing. I don't know how to count anymore. So the next step would be to check if the model is geolocated. Again, you get an NWC file in NWD, you don't know how this model was created, who created them, or like well, the model and whatnot. So we need you to know beforehand if this model is geolocated or not. And for the NWC files, to know if the model is geolocated, basically what it means is that the origin point of this model is super far away compared to where the geometry is, you know. So to check that, we go over here in the review function and I keep the measure panel open. So when I open the measure panel, I see this guy over here and I'm gonna do any measure. So when I look at the values in my screen, they're not showing anything like weird. They're just showing like the distance between those 2 points. But when I look on this other panel here, I can see that the point coordinates are super large values, right? So this one is 780,000 meters away. The other one is 417,000 meters away. So this means that this model was geolocated. Someone defined that the origin point is very far from this geometry. So this means that whenever I bring this model into cmBuilder, I might not see this model, like if I haven't accounted for the geometry, for the geolocation, I will not see this model in the right spot. So knowing that the model is geolocated, I now need to figure out like what is the geolocation system that was used for this model. So when I bring the model in cmBuilder, it will show in the right spot, right? So I will show this in the next step. But basically, this model is geolocated because these values are large values. So it means that the geometry is far away from where the origin is. Okay. Next step is to hide parts in the view before exporting. So you want to filter out what is the irrelevant parts in cmBuilder, that you're not going to use in this model when you're doing the work in cmBuilder. And I suggest that you do this beforehand because you're going to have like more control about how filtering these parts here in Navisworks. Like Navisworks has like a search function that allows you to search things by their names, and like it has like a lot of conditions over here. So for example, let's say that I want to, let me remove those measurements out of that. So let's say that I want to remove, I don't know, like all ceilings out of this model. I can go over here and create a search filter that will be that the item name contains covering, for example. And when I find it all, like it will find all of those parts here in my tree structure. Then I can go in and hide them. And now when I export this as an NWD, I will exclude those hidden items. So you can filter these parts before you bring them to cmBuilder. Okay. And once you bring the model in, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, question came up from Judson. Will having section planes activated exclude items when exporting in Navis 26?
Not that I know of. I haven't tried that with the section planes yet, so I welcome you guys to try to do so and let me know if it works. But actually, let's try together. Okay, because like this is a Navisworks kind of like thing. It's not a cmBuilder thing. Like if the Navisworks cannot, let me select it actually. Okay, so let's see. So basically, if Navisworks cannot export the section, cmBuilder won't be able to read it, right? So we need to make sure that Navisworks can do the export first. So okay, so I have like a section apply like this, and I'm not sure if this is going to work because I don't think that the section defines hidden elements, but let's see how it works. So if I go into NWD and export the hidden elements, I'm going to do a sectioned model. Okay, I'm going to try this in Builder now. But before I get to that point, let me just go back over here and show like the last step would be to review the model tree in cmBuilder. So we're going to do this together now directly in the platform. So if I go and open this scenario here, I can import that model. I already imported the combined model with all those parts. So like I'm going to load it here. And by the way, it related to the geolocation. For the geolocation for this model, for it to work, I need to go back into my project, go into the project coordinate, and define what is the geolocation system that is being used for that model, right? So this is the one for that model over there. So when I go back in here and I import the cmBuilder model, that model will show up in the right spot because it's geolocated in the source, and in cmBuilder I defined what is the geolocation system that I'm using. Okay, so when I import that model in here, we will see it show up in the right spot in a minute. Come on, there you go. Cool. So as you can see, the model showed up over here in the right spot. So it's aligned with the terrain and all of that. So the geolocation worked pretty well. And just talking about the tree structure that I mentioned before, right? So reviewing the model geometry, the model tree in cmBuilder, there are two main ways where we see the model tree of imported models in the platform. So one is the group by beam structure, and the other one is the group by original file tree, right? So these are the model, the kind of like grouping functions that are related to what you can use from the source model that you brought in. So for an NWC file, when I expand the beam structure, this will show me all the levels of all these models combined in one single tree, like one single list, right? So as you can see over here, I have L2, and this might be selecting L2 from the structural model, but also the electrical model, but also the HVAC model, and so on and so forth, right? So these levels are all the levels from all the models in there. So when I look at this and I see, let me just deactivate this section here, and I see all of these different like file formats that I see over here. So cmBuilder is combining all the different levels from each one of these and putting them all the parts inside of the same level. Okay, so if like I have a level 3 defined for HVAC and the same for facades, the parts from HVAC and facade will be combined under that group. Okay. And the second way of like visualizing the tree structure in here is to go into the original file tree. And this one will show you the tree structure exactly as it is in Navisworks. So if I keep expanding this, I'm going to find a tree structure here related to the architectural model, for example, that is exactly the same tree structure that I see in Navisworks. So if I expand this guy, keep expanding, you know, we will see them. Let me put them side by side here. And then R2. There you go. So as you can see, like the same tree structure I get for the architectural is in here. So you have like two options to select your parts and group them like automatically. And yeah, I really suggest you explore this so it will help you like select parts faster and create your sequence faster as well. Okay, and now let's check that section model. Let's see what we're gonna get over here. So section model. Well, it's promising because the file format was very small, but I kept only the structure in this one, so I'm not sure. It might work and it might not. Another way to check this would be to open the same NWC file in Navisworks and see what we would get from that, right? So that would give us the solution. There you go. So The answer is nope. The NWC is not considering that the parts that are hidden by a section tool to be hidden parts, right? So you might need to like install an add-on or like a plugin in Navisworks that would help you do that.